things. Just you throw, let us say, your bag, right, on the bike, and it just locks it. So you even don't have to fix it and so on. So you just throw it on and it locks it. Very nice system. Now think, and I don't have the time to explain it, but think 2 minutes. What is a lock? What is a magnet? It's a standard system, and it asks for network economics. You cannot ask for an exclusive design for each of your customers. And this has taken the company 2 years to struggle with that. So you have to watch out what is your business model, because you have to be flexible if you have to change your business model. Let's move on. I take a hypothetical example of Petrobras. Petrobras is a very big company, and in the crude oil, you have no product differentiation, right? In the crude oil, you sell just a commodity. So the question is, can you use can you use open innovation in commodity-like markets? And my answer is again, yes. Product innovation is here not a value driver, right? It's not like in what we have learned from Henry, you cannot do any product innovation there. But if we have strategic drivers, think about your oil well exploration. Think about also the extraction. If you're more effective than your competitors in extracting, in first finding better wells and then extracting these wells in a better way, you have a competitive advantage. So again, what you're going to do is you have no way of doing any product innovation, but you will make sure that others innovate so that you can lever your extraction or your exploration. So you're going to try to get a better value driver or improve your value drivers by others' open innovation. So what do we have in the past and what do we have in the future? First, what we have seen so far is that new product development was as application of open innovation. That was like a very narrow thing. In the future, we're going to see that all value drivers play a role and are a reason to develop open innovation. So if you are in commodity markets, you can do so, open innovation. If you're in services, you can do so. If you're a small company, you can do so. Everybody, I think every company here, or every organization, be it a government organization or a private one, you can use open innovation to get your targets, to get your value drivers done. So the firm is an innovating company, and usually it's in high tech because it's technologically related. What we see nowadays is that the firm should not be an innovator. Any company can be an instigator of open innovation. One-on-one, because you and a company work together on innovation. Well, nowadays you see you involve a network of partners in an ecosystem, not working one-on-one with a partners separately. Open innovation is not related to a business model. Here we see that open innovations come indirectly through an open business model. So the business model becomes central, not the open innovation. And then you see that you have to manage individual relations. No, you see in the case of, for instance, Curana, that you have a role as an ecosystem orchestrator. These are new roles, and so you have new processes to make an ecosystem successful. And as a core, you also might have new risk, like co-inventor risk and technology adoption risk. So we are changing and moving away from the traditional view of open innovation towards completely new ways and a broader way of applying open innovation. Second thing I want to show you is that open innovation should always be embedded in a strategy of a company, and we forget that. The problem is that we have been showing, and I'm almost also one of the bad guys, we have been showing how good open innovation is, the benefits of open innovation. We were preoccupied about the benefits of open innovation. And it's a good thing to show how good it is, but we forget to position it somewhere in a company, somewhere in a strategy, and show when a particular open innovation is good and when it really adds to the growth of a company. I give you some examples. Think about the old example of the printed sprinklers. Well, I will not tell you the story is written there, but Procter & Gamble was looking for prints, edible prints on its sprinklers. And it found it by a professor in Bologna, in Italy, who was experimenting with that. Now, if you look, it has like a 14% increase for a few years in the sales of Pringles. And Pringles had like a 1.5 billion annually revenues. So that's like a 210 million for 2 years additional growth. Now for Procter & Gamble, this is nice to have, but this is not a growth engine. So all these examples are fine, but this is not the major growth engine. Now let's have a look again for Procter & Gamble, the Swiffer. It got it from Unicharm, it licensed from Unicharm in Japan, and it got a new product for 10, 15, maybe 20 years. This is already a major move for Procter & Gamble, much larger than the Pringlers. But we still have seen the Pringlers example and the Swiffer example at the same stage. For the company, it's a much bigger deal here than in the case of the Pringlers. Now let's look at another company, which is DSM. DSM is a Dutch performance chemical company, only 8 million, not 80 billion, sorry, 8 billion, not 80 billion, so it's 10 times smaller than Procter & Gamble. But here, they use open innovation not for existing products and improving existing products, but they use it for the long-term development of the company. And they create growth platforms like bio-based products and services, biomedical materials, and advanced services. So open innovation there is something completely different than in the case of Procter & Gamble. So what they do, for instance, I just want to focus on the area which is colored. They have emerging business areas, and they call it really that way, which should generate by 2020 1 billion euros. That's 1/8, so 12.5% of the revenues of today. Whose company here can bet by 2020 you're going to have 12.5% of your revenues coming from completely new and still unexisting, because this is new stuff, completely unexisting markets and businesses. This is a different way of thinking about open innovation. And we should differentiate. The examples of Procter & Gamble are not the same as this here. So we have to link it back to the strategy. What is DSM doing? What is the target of DSM with open innovation? And what is the target of open innovation in Procter & Gamble, given these examples? So we should turn it upside down. So you see here the EBAs, but I don't want to go into detail here. So what is the value of open innovation examples for companies? Not each example is worth to be told here in a room. So what we should do is start from the corporate growth strategy. And we should look at the long-term growth areas. Which technologies do you need to get that far, and which are no longer crucial, because a number of technologies will become old-fashioned. And then once you know what you want, then you should know how to get there. Where are these technologies? Who has these competencies? Who should we partner with? And once you know who to partner with, then you should define targets, alliance targets, and build up that relationship. So you will see then also, depending on the target, long-term growth, short-term, that the partners will change, that the type of involvement and risk-taking will change, and that you will have different teams and different team members in each of these R&D teams. So one way to frame that, and it's not new, is, for instance, the why, what, find, get, and manage structure. And you start with the ambition of the company, and you trickle down till you have the right partners, the right way to partner, the right way to manage that partnership, and finally, also measure how you have to deliver. And this is the way we have to think more structurally about open innovation. Forget about the examples. Let's go one step higher up. Look what the companies want. Look how they can translate that into a want strategy, a get strategy, or find and get strategy, and finally how they have to manage it. Third point, open innovation has been linked too much to R&D. And I think if you have other assets, and each company has other assets than research and development, you better link it to each other. Because the real added value is in combining research with your other assets. And I give you one example of branding in Unilever. And I'm very thankful to Graham Cross for the presentation he gave me. This is what Graham Cross is doing when he presents about Unilever's open innovation strategy. You have a continuum from very closed to very open. And he is then filling in a number of branding strategies. First is, you can, with open innovation, you can enhance your core skills, your core brands. Second is, you can develop an ecosystem. 3, you can rebatch. 4, you can co-develop and co-brand. And finally, you can make alliances. Now, I will go through each of them. Through each of them. By the way, if you have a brand, like several here are 1 billion brands, how likely your marketing people will help you in changing these brands, in developing new technology to improve these brands? Brands are just like your baby, right? Your last born baby. You don't want anybody to touch it, because that's the most valuable asset you have in the company. And still, just because of this kind of attitude, we miss a lot of opportunities. So here we see how Unilever is creating a lot of value just by innovating and bringing in innovation, open innovation, in its branding strategy. The first one is very simple. It's core skills enhanced. Think about B-cell. B-cell is just a spread, right? You can use it as a spread, and you can just buy it as a spread. But nowadays, it has become something else. It's functional. It reduces your cholesterol level. And what they do is, so they have been engineering it, and they even bring the co-branding of the partner who is delivering the omega-3 here. So this is a new innovation. So you collaborate, you co-develop these kind of products, and you bring it in your branding. You improve your branding just by a very simple change in your brand. Ecosystem innovation is already much more difficult. This is a whipped cream, which you use in sauces and so on. And the idea here is that the capsules are aseptic. So if you close it, no germs can come in. Now, nobody has been doing that before, let's say 5 years ago. So where is the innovation here? Where is the open innovation here? Well, who is making these capsules? Who is making this here? And who is making the bottles? 2 different suppliers. Not you. You have no idea how to make them. But your suppliers do that. So you enter a strategic relationship with different suppliers, not 1, 2 or 3, and you ask them to come up with a new idea, an aseptic capsule. And that will add a lot of value to your brand, because you finally can say to your customer, no germs, guaranteed. But it's the know-how and the open innovation is in your suppliers. It's located there. It's not in your company. And you have to team up with them. Rebatching is something similar. This is a vibrating hairbrush, rebranded or rebatched as Dove. And you all know, the ladies know Dove from the soaps and so on. But, and Unilever knows everything about hair and hair care and your skull and so on. But it doesn't know anything about vibrating hairbrushes. That's another technology. So what you do is you bring in the technology and you rebrand it as one of your new brands, enhancing, let us say, or extending the number of products you have under the Dove brand. More interesting is, for instance, the co-development, and here we'll go very open, right? The co-development and the co-branding. It's a very funny example. You see there on the end, Black & Decker. Black & Decker, no, let's start with the start. Procter & Gamble, so not Unilever, so the main competitor of Unilever, Procter & Gamble, wanted to go after Starbucks and the Senseo from Philips and the Nespresso. And so it asked Black & Decker to make this kind of home brewing system. And of course you need the pads, or let's say the pots, and the coffee pots are made by Procter & Gamble, because Procter & Gamble has this home and cafe brand in the United States. Very famous, very big brand. But it lacks the Lipton, it lacks the tea. And so to have a full assortment, it was asking its main competitor, Unilever, who has the Lipton brand, to also make this kind of pods, special pods, to co-develop it, and to co-brand it, you see. So Home Cafe is there, and the Lipton is there. So Unilever and Procter & Gamble on one package. But it has a big advantage. Procter & Gamble has a full assortment, and Unilever has a new outlet for its huge tea marketing, for its huge tea sales. Last but not least is the alliances for new businesses. We all know the Pepsi Unilever deal, because Lipton is, of course, sold through the brands or through the delivery systems, distribution systems of Pepsi. And Pepsi didn't have the tea. It only had like Coke and Fanta, whatever. But it didn't have iced tea. Now, Unilever was also not in the soft drink industry. It had nothing there. So they made an alliance, a joint venture. And nowadays, the soft drinks, so the iced tea is a new way, a major way to get to the clients. It's a road to market for the tea industry or the tea business in Unilever. So I just give you a few examples. This is just like scratching the surface, but showing if you have an asset, just like a brand, please use open innovation and play with your brands to generate millions, here in this case, 100 millions of euros. Don't look at open innovation as something for your R&D people. It's something for your whole company, for each manager, wherever he might be in your company. I will skip this one because of time. Let me give you two more things, two more issues. Open innovation and IP. We always have been thinking that IP is a major stumbling block for open innovation. And of course, it might be the case. But a company that manages IP the right way and does that with its partners in the right way can really do a lot of things with IP. I give you two examples. Two examples not from ICT, because in ICT this is already a well-known practice. Here we are talking about tires, the tire industry. And Bekaert is the major, it's also a Belgian company, a major steel cord company, steel cord manufacturer. And you need steel cord in the tires, right, the radial tires. So Bekaert and Continental here, the tire company, were co-developing a new type of weaving of the steel cord so that the performance on the way for the tires was 5% better. Now, the question is, should you just go for that niche market, because Continental only has a number of percentages of the market, or should you do something differently? And so they were thinking, how are we going to commercialize this new technology? And because they wanted to make it as a standard for the whole industry, where everybody can benefit from this reduction in fuel consumption, this 5% benefits in fuel consumption, they had to set up a licensing scheme. And so what they did is the following. Bekaert can deliver this new type of steel cord to Continental, and of course it will not charge any licensing fee because they co-developed it. But then Bekaert gets the permission to supply other tire manufacturers at a particular X rate, so they don't want to tell me what is the rate, but they charge a licensing fee. And all the benefits go to Continental, because Continental is losing its competitive advantage. On the other hand, other suppliers, other steel cord manufacturers get the possibility to license this technology and to sell it to Continental. Here, Bekaert is losing its competitive advantage, and all the royalties go to Bekaert. The last thing is that at a higher royalty rate, other suppliers can deliver to other tire manufacturers And then the profits are split, or the royalties are split by 60-40, not 50-50, because Bekaert is taking care of all the contracts and all the licensing activities related to engineers and so on. So they take care of this cost, and so they are compensated 60-40. So this is a way to make a standard. And so this renewed or improved steel cord is now making its way as a new standard in the industry. Another example is IMEC. IMEC is a Belgian public institute, public technological institute, working on microelectronics. Although it's a public institute, 83% of its revenues comes from the industry. So only 13% comes from subsidies from the government. And the question is why they are so successful. They are not selling any product, they only sell IP. They only sell knowledge. And I will show you how you really can make money based on knowledge. So what is IMEC doing? It has its famous industrial affiliation program. What it does there is it writes down a program for the next 5 years in the semiconductor industry. It invites all these big companies like Intel, IBM, TSMC, others, Samsung and so on. And it collaborates, it set up this program, and each of these partners has a kind of bilateral agreement with IMEC. Now, what are the advantages of working together? And let's be honest, this is pre-competitive R&D, otherwise these companies would not work together, so it's pre-competitive. So they can share costs, because it costs 1 billion, more than 1 billion euros to come up with a new technology, new generation of chips. So you can share costs, you can share risk, you can share the research infrastructure, because you work at IMEC. It's very expensive, research infrastructure, clean rooms, steppers, and so on. But you also have to share IP, and I will show how it works. So there's a number of leverages here, resource leverage, knowledge leverage, cross-fertilization of research of different partners, and very important here, shortening time to market. So let's have a look at the IP. What IMEC is doing is the following thing. If it asks these people, asks these companies to join the party and work in a research framework, they first charge these companies for its background knowledge. Because IMEC has been working already. IMEC has been working already for 3, 4 years, 5 years with the best PhDs in the world. And it selectively patents the results of these PhDs, which are then used in these programs. So to get access to that, you have already to pay. So you didn't start yet, and you have to pay already. Why? Because you have to have the access to this IP. Second is the foreground knowledge. So the knowledge you jointly develop. You're doing a part of the joint, you're doing part of the program, you are doing part of the program, and you are doing part of the program. And we jointly co-own this IP. We all co-own our IP, and we also co-own our IP. But we should always make sure that we have non-exclusive licensing to all the other ones. So the idea is you do part of the work, and you have possibly access to all the work of everybody here. So that makes that everybody can get access to what all of us are doing together in that program, but we only have to do part of the work. So you really accelerate these kind of things. But because of this licensing, non-exclusive licensing, that's the second thing. Sorry about that. That's the second time that you have an income. The third time you have an income is when a partner says, no, I want to have, sorry about that. Third time is that the partner says, okay, we want to have exclusive ownership about, let's say, more applied knowledge about a particular, let's say, microprocessor. Think about Intel. And then it's no longer part of the whole program, but it's, let's say, a more applied outcome between you and that one single firm, and it's an exclusive license. So IMEC is exclusively licensing that knowledge to one company. So that's the third time you make money. So if you want to learn how to make money out of IP, this is one way. Not the only way, but one way. And they make 83% of their revenues coming from these programs. I will stop here because I'm over my time. Just 2 more things. By the way, tomorrow I'm going to work also. I'm teaching tomorrow in the workshop and tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow morning I will have it about public policy and open innovation. And I just want to show you the books. Henry has been publishing 3 books about for managers. We have been publishing the research book, which we're going to be renewed in 2013. And we also have a report which is freely available on open innovation and public policy. Please have a look. I will not take too much time here. Please take a look at exnovate.org, where you can find all the information. This is a website where we work together, Henry and me. So we have like a masterclass we do each summertime in Barcelona. We have a PhD course in January. So if you want to participate, please hurry up. But this is only for PhDs. We have also some work on open innovation metrics and best practices to improve open innovation in SMEs. And if you feel like a real open innovation member, please have a look at Open Innovation Community. That's how it's called, both on Facebook and LinkedIn, so you can link in and become part of the group. Thank you for your attention. I hope you learned something.